All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the MCAG Governing Board for April 20th, 2017. And could we, at this time, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Mr. Pereira, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes, sir. Ready, salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's go to item 3, approval of agenda. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Okay, it's been moved by McDaniels, second by Murphy to approve the agenda stated. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're going to do roll call. I see people here, so I guess we should do that. Okay, roll call, please.
Director Lohr, Director McDaniel,
Present.
Director Pereira,
Present.
Director O'Banion,
Here.
Director Price,
Here.
Director Hogue, Director Oliveira,
Here.
Director McCabe, Director Murphy,
Here.
Vice Chair Espinoza,
Here.
Chair Vialta,
Here. Okay, do have a quorum.
correct.
Okay, let's go on to, we already approved the agenda, so let's go on to item 4, public comment. Speakers are limited to a 3-minute presentation. Is there anyone who would like to speak during the public comment section? Please come forward.
Hello, board members. My name is David Garcia of Merced. I'm here today to inform you of yet another example how the maintenance provider put in place by your transit manager has been breaking the law on maintenance. First, understand that your diesel buses use 2 systems to clean the exhaust. One uses the basic filter in place of the muffler to clean the air. This filter will clean to the point it gets dirty enough to set a check engine light requiring service. You see, this air filter will actually clean better the dirtier it gets. The other that is on your newer buses uses a combination of this filter and a chemical reaction chamber to clean the exhaust. A while back, I noticed over the course of a few weeks that some of your buses that use the basic filter system were pouring out black smoke like a freight train every time they took off. A coworker noticed this as well. We were actually amazed that your maintenance provider would do such a thing. You see, I asked around. I asked my coworkers and other mechanics familiar with this basic filter type system. How do you get the buses to pour out black smoke? The unanimous consensus was that your maintenance provider had removed the filter unit and substituted a plain piece of exhaust pipe instead, effectively eliminating the pollution control system, which is illegal. Do you understand me? Illegal means it is against the law to do so. These are the people your transit manager has put in charge of your maintenance. What other illegal activity could your transit maintenance be up to just so they can have the buses on the road? Think about it. Remember, lives depend on proper maintenance. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak at the public comment section? Not seeing or hearing anyone, I will now close the public comment section and go on to item 5, bike to work presentation. And Lisa Donahue?
Like a drum roll or something. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Donahue. I feel weird standing behind the podium. My urge is to come out here and walk around and talk to you, but I'll stay. But I'll rein myself in. So I'm Lisa Donahue. I'm here with Dibs, and I know some of you. Were here for Carrie, my coworker, was here. Was it last month, I think? And she did the Dibs presentation about how we've switched from Commute Connection to Dibs, a more updated, friendlier, consumer-centric brand. So I'm here to talk to you guys about Bike to Work Month. Every year we take over the whole month of May. The last 2 years we've taken over the whole month. Years before that we've only done the week. We love doing the whole month because it gives employers and just participants in general more time to participate. I know we all get to the end of that week that we're supposed to do and we're like, oh no, I forgot. So it helps with that relapse. So here, where's the little clicker thing? Sorry, I forgot to, is it not here? Okay. All right, we're here. Do you want me to? It's not down here. I can just stand over here and move it if need be, or I'll tell you when. So this year we're switching it up a little bit. Normally we do a ton of prizes, and all you have to do is enter one time to win. So we're inserting a little bit of competition, trying to get people out there and moving more than just one time. So they're still eligible to win some awesome prizes if they do it once, but the more they ride, the better the prizes get. So the first trip, they log one trip, they're eligible to win these Monkey LED bike tire lights. I know you guys are like, what is that? I have no clue. But if anybody's seen those commercials where people are riding their bikes at night and it has this neon light inside the bike, exactly, so it's those. So we're giving away a better version of those, which actually has moving images in it. So the bikes are extremely visible at night. It's the greatest safety thing we've ever come across, and it's really fun. They have one that has a dog chasing a cat. It's pretty hilarious, I will say. So if they log 2 trips, then they're eligible to win this Trick Out Your Ride package. This comes with a bell, a new helmet, some dibs gear, a phone mount so that they can see their GPS, as well as a bike repair tool and some bike wheel lights that are kind of the same as the one trip ones, but they don't have the moving images, just the neon, so they're still really visible. So if they log 4 trips, then they're eligible to win the big prizes. We're giving away 3 Apple Watches and 3 brand new bicycles. So we're giving away one of those in each county. So we're pretty excited for that. We all know you want that cool Apple Watch. Let's go to the next one. Thank you. So why bike to work? The average person in the first year of biking to work loses about 13 pounds, which is pretty awesome. And if you're not using gas and you're saving a ton of money. Also, it boosts employee morale, and I don't know about you guys, but every time I ride in, it's kind of like a woo-saw. Like, it's a relaxing thing. At the end of the day, you get to enjoy your ride home instead of dreading that commute. And if you're riding your bike, you don't have to deal with traffic, so you're always on time. Thank you. So what can Dibs do? So we can come and we can table at an event. We can chat with employees. We can do raffles. We can do raffles at the event. We can print custom posters, postcards. We can do Energizer stations, which we do here every year in Merced. We do 5 on a Bike to Work day. And we can also do community presentations and come hang with any employers, groups, anything you guys need. Thank you. So what can you guys do? You guys can roll in together. You can do a bike safety workshop. You can have a rally at your workplace. You can post flyers. And probably the easiest thing is just to repost any of our social media stuff. I'm pretty hilarious, so feel free to repost it. And you can also issue a Bike Day proclamation. Thank you. So what's the next step? So you can go to dibsmyway.com, or if you're a smartphone person, you can go into the App Store and type in Commute Tracker, and that'll pull up our app, and it'll actually track it for you. So it's kind of the easy way to go. But you can go to either one and just log a trip, and then log more trips so that you can get up to that bike or the Apple Watch. So in Merced, right now, the secured events are the City of Merced event, which has those 5 stops starting at Golden Valley Health Center, moving up to the Bob Hart Square, both Mercy hospitals, and then UC Merced as the bringing up the rear. And that's on this coming May 4th. Of course, it's this coming May 4th. It's the only May 4th. But it's on Thursday, May 4th, and that runs from 6:30 to 9:30 a.m. That way it gives people a chance to hit all stops if they'd like. And then we're also going to tag along with a ride with the mayor. It's during the Mercy Gulch Days Festival, which is on Saturday, May 20th, and registration's from 8 to 8:45, and then the actual ride's at 9. So we'll be hanging out there. And if you guys want an event of your own, please let me know, and you can email me with the next slide. Sorry. You can email me, lisa@dibsmyway.com, or you can call my office line, 209-235-1091, and I'm happy to come hang with any of you guys in any of your organizations. Are there any questions for me?
Well, the mayor's a little younger, so we'll let him ride for us.
Perfect.
Put a plug in. As the mayor, you're all invited to the mayor's ride.
Whoop, whoop.
May 20th in the morning. It's Saturday. It's a family-friendly ride. So I'll have my kids there too.
You supply the tricycles?
No tricycles, but there will be.
Small himself, yeah.
Yeah. There'll be helmets and locks while they last.
The mayor might give some Apple Watches.
Watch out.
Lisa, you'll have your bike here as well?
Of course, I'm going to ride it all the way from Stockton, so it'll be great. Anybody else?
Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you
All right,
so much.
thank you guys. Thanks for letting me
Okay.
come hang.
All right, let's go on to item 6, minutes. Regional Waste Management Authority Board meeting of March 26, 2017. Transit Joint Powers Authority for Merced County Board meeting for March 16, 2017. And Merced County Association of Governments Board meeting for March 16, 2017. It's an action item. Do I have a motion? Comments?
I'll move to approve. Second.
Okay. Motion by O'Banion and second by whom? Espinoza? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Citizens Advisory Committee report, item number 7. Do we have someone here? Okay, go on to the next one. Item number 8, oral report, Merced County Regional Waste Management Authority monthly update. Brooks?
Good afternoon, Board. Just a few things to mention. Page 16 of your packet has the tonnage. So if you've seen that, 4 years ago we were at 19,000 tons, now we're at 40,000 tons. So kind of, you know, it's a pros and cons of that. We're filling up the landfill faster, so we've got to get the expansions going. But we hit our revenue projections by the end of our third quarter. So we are doing really well as far as the revenue is concerned. There probably are a couple weather-related phenomenon that are occurring. Number one is that people leave their dumpsters open, not the little bins at your house, but the big commercial dumpsters. And so when it rains, that absorbs into the waste or into the dumpster, and so the loads are excessively heavy. And then the other thing that probably affects us a lot is all of the wastewater treatment plants normally take the sludge that comes out of the plants and land apply as fertilizer, but there are restrictions. When the ground is too saturated, they are not allowed to do that, and the plants have to keep running, so they will pay to bring that material to the landfill. So the only time that we would ever get it is when we have really strong, heavy rains like we've had. So these are probably some anomalies. I would expect that it'll go back down, but we'll watch it, and our consultants are working on the expansions as we speak. So I think we're fine as far as capacity goes. And just so if you're new, the sites have a lot of capacity, but we have to build the footprints individually. Okay, any questions about tonnage? Okay, Mariposa County has been working with us. We've talked to them for a couple of years. They finally started about a month ago. They said they would test it for 2 weeks they take up a load of our green waste and put it in their anaerobic digester. They bring back a load of garbage, and then they take a second load of green waste up. So they have 8 bunkers. They usually only use 1 or 2. So we thought they would go to 2 weeks. They've gone for 4 weeks. So to me, that's a good news. That's a wonderful thing, because there are, I've mentioned before, there were a lot of regulatory changes regarding how we compost and what we have to do with green waste and the diversion. So if we can somehow utilize their system, it helps us avoid several $1 million or more in expense of a anaerobic digester system of our own. So hopefully this will work out. We had 2 inspections of both landfills from the Water Board, and they both passed, just minor issues of landscape maintenance type things. We did hire a firm to look into the Billy Wright landfill purchase. So there are a couple pipelines going across there. There's that potential development, and there's the freeway on the other side and 152. So we want to make sure that we have setbacks. So if we would build there, we would not have complaints down the road, and then we have to avoid those pipelines. You wouldn't be able to build over the top of them, or we'd have to move those, which would be a huge expense. So we're having them look at the property, look at the restrictions or setbacks, and just make sure there are no fatal flaws in buying it. And then before I even spent that money, we called River West, who manages the property, just to ask them if they are still potentially interested in selling a portion or all of it, and they were. I talked to the Haydens, so we will schedule an item at closed session in a month or 2 once we have that information back. Any questions on the land purchase? Okay, lastly, the landfill gas to energy project with the UC. We had revised their solar power purchase agreement. We sent that back to them about 2 weeks ago. I hadn't heard anything, so I went ahead and called them Monday and talked to my peer over there, because the main step that has to occur next is they have to guarantee to buy enough electricity to cover the cost of the project. And then if they agree to that, then we can look into the detail of the pipeline and the technology and the air offsets and all that. But no response, because I guess they are on spring break. I don't really know, but he's off this week. So anyway, any questions on the landfill gas to energy project? All right. That's
Well,
it for the oral.
I just want to tell you that a report on the hazardous waste and the waste event that was held in Los Banos. It was over 300,000 pounds of waste collected on that day. 1,008 cars showed up. So I don't know. I mean, it was so successful. The cars were just wrapped around the downtown. So maybe you want to contact Allied and talk to them and see. I know we have 2 events, a spring and a fall event. And I don't know if we need more. I know they're very expensive. I don't know how we can do 2 sites or what we can do to accommodate the number of people that are showing up, because there were like almost 200 mattresses that were brought in, and then the hazardous waste. It was it was just phenomenal, because all that stuff would have ended up in someone's garbage or the or mattresses around town. So I just want to personally thank MCAG and thank you for a very successful event.
No, and we are happy to host those. We do, and Lloyd had contacted me about our Saturday schedule because he's newer, but we are open. I totaled it up 29 Saturdays. Well, we're open every Saturday until noon, but 29 Saturdays we're open till 3:30, which is a full day for us. And so we're working now to get those into the utility bills of all the towns and the county so that we can get more public education on that. We are doing some radio spots. We will look, I don't know if we've looked into the print ads yet, but we are going to do the radio and the flyers in the publications so that those come out to everybody at least every quarter. But as far as the actual events go, those are really up to the jurisdictions. But like I said, we sit down with them at the beginning of the year, or actually it's late end of the year, and we schedule those, and we just are flexible with what they do. So we'll go ahead and contact them and see if we can add something, because that kind of turnout definitely, I would think that they should look at having more events. But again, we're just a partner in that. It's up to them to schedule them, but we will accommodate them.
Well, it wouldn't be possible without you guys. We know that.
No, but
But
we're happy to do it. So I'll remember to go ahead and contact them.
And are we working more on the I mean, I was asked this question by some citizens, and it says, are we working harder on the diversion rate to make sure that, I mean, some of these events, I know a lot of them were metal, and so we're diverting all that metal. It doesn't go into the landfill. And so if we could maybe get some kind of report when we have these type of events of how much is diverted to recycle. And
all of that is tracked. I mean, in total, we operate, I think it's 46 different recycling programs through all the jurisdictions and regional waste. So countywide, we do the reporting for everybody. So we gather the information. So we have 46 total programs, and every year we get the notification from Cal Recycle that we either complied or didn't. So we are complying, we are within the rules, but we can do more, and the organics is probably the next big piece. But the more you do, the more expensive it gets.
Yes.
And so that's why we've been trying to partner with Mariposa on this composting system. And then the other issue is safety and cost when it comes to source segregated or it coming into the sites already mixed up. So you have tremendous safety issues and cost issues whenever you've already mixed the garbage with the recyclables. So it's always better, and this is universal nationwide, that you separate it at the source. And so I'm not trying to say the cities and counties need to do more, but it's really more on that end, the front end, than on the back end, and we'll be glad to help with that, but it happens more at the source than at the landfills. Once it's all mixed together in a load or in a truck, the difficulty and the contamination rates and all that make it very cost prohibitive.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Go on to item 9, oral report, Transit Joint Powers Authority for Merced County monthly update. And Rich, move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I had given you a handout that has our performance measures on there. Good news is the ridership for March is up. Ridership tends to go up in March, but it was quite a big spike last month. I think it may have something to do with the fact that there was 23 weekdays. So obviously ridership's more on the weekdays. That helped us. So we'll see how things turn out next month if the ridership peaks out. We are still working on our paratransit on-time performance. It's a balance between, the passengers per hour and the on-time performance, and we're still balancing that out. Maintenance is still going very well. We're averaging still only 4 buses out a day. Cleaning of the bus wash. We had an issue with the bus wash needing to get cleaned out. We have a crew out there yesterday and today cleaning it out. We had to get somebody on board who could handle the materials and so forth and get them taken out. And then the Los Banos Fair will be there in a couple weeks, so we hope to see you there. And if anybody is interested in having a lengthy discussion about diesel particulate filters and the history of that, I'd be happy to sit down with you and talk about that.
Okay. Any questions for Rich? Thank you. Okay, item number 10, project options for Measure V funding. Rich?
Thank you again, Mr. Chair. This is, as you know, Measure V passed. So I'm basically throwing some ideas out of how we could use the money in transit as it relates to Measure V. The Transportation Expenditure Plan listed a couple of options that we could use Measure V money for. It was new routes, low, or what should be zero emission buses, night and weekend service, bus shelters, safer access, and then fare reductions and subsidies. And keep in mind, the fare reductions and subsidies would be essentially just any loss in revenue for those fares. It's not actually to pay for the entire service. So option A was, I looked at it, what would it take to do an overall fare reduction for the entire service? Going from $1.50 back down to $1, that's where we were at shortly before I came on board. And the amounts were close to $700,000, and we're estimating to get $750,000. Since we don't know exactly what we're going to be getting, I think that's a little too aggressive at this point to go that extreme. But I wanted to include it as an option for you to discuss. We could look at fixed route, free fixed route for seniors, ADA, and veterans. This was something that was talked about quite a bit in the promotional material. We're looking at maybe $120,000 to $150,000 cost, depending on what that turns out. With today's figures, it'd be $120,000, but we assume if there was a free fare that the ridership would go up. So therefore, the subsidy would essentially go up. And that seems like a reasonable amount. We could do a combination of fixed route for free and then a reduced fare on the paratransit. Then you start getting up into about $250,000, $300,000 range, depending on the increase in ridership that we would see with that. And then there was a discussion about any new service. Well, if we have new service, we have to keep in mind we need another bus and we need another operator. It's not just more hours. We need the equipment as well. So we're looking at about $105,000 per vehicle operator per year. So if we needed 2 buses, 3 buses, 4 buses, that's how we could factor that in. And then option E would be to set the money aside for a future purchase of zero-emission vehicles, zero-emission buses. We're doing a pre-build meeting tomorrow with Gillig for what we think are going to be our final clean air diesel buses. Starting next year, we won't really be able to order any more clean air diesel buses. They'll have to be zero emission buses. We're scheduled to replace our clean air diesel buses, 7 of them in 2023. So in 2021, we need to order them. So we could start setting this money aside to be matching funds for air district money or something, an opportunity that comes along for us to join in with, to be able to get our first zero emission buses and the infrastructure that goes along with that, because we'll have to buy charging stations and all that kind of stuff. So those are the 3 options. And then another option came up this week was the option of mobile ticket sales. We've been looking at options of being able to purchase the pass on your phone and directly with your account and not have to have a cash exchange. You can purchase it yourself, and then you show your phone to the operator, and there's a way to do it where there's no upfront costs, but there's a transaction fee. So that 10% transaction fee, we could use the Measure V money to offset the loss of revenue, and it would basically be the same for us. So that's another option that I wanted to throw out there. And to let you know, the CAC recommended option E, which was set aside all the money for zero-emission buses. The TRB recommended option B, which is the free fixed route for seniors, ADA, and veterans, because we talked about this could be basically an immediate win for Measure V and a way for us to promote that we're getting started with using these funds for something that helps the community. And then the rest set aside for the zero-emission buses that we'll need in the future. And that's also staff's recommendation.
Okay. Comments? Yes.
I think that since we were out there talking about option B during the entirety of Measure V, I can't see us skewing away from veterans. And I mean, that was the strongest topic in the conversation, especially when the committee put together Measure V. So I would encourage all my colleagues here to remember that veterans, and that was our most concern about that.
Any other comments?
Mayor.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
So I'm certainly supportive of reducing fares and new buses. Just wonder, we've had a lot of feedback in the city of Merced about trying to get additional routes that run later at night downtown, so that people can take advantage of the opportunities that are downtown. And has there been any? There isn't an option here that lists that. Could you share your thoughts?
We are discussing that as part of our short-range transit plan, which we're in the middle of, which you probably will see in 2 or 3 months, the final plan or the draft plan. We are discussing more creative ways to handle that. The only problem with that is that we did run evening service for 3 years, and the ridership was extremely low. So unless we did something different,
And one of the things to maybe do differently too is, sort of downtown express buses where you're not making a stop everywhere, increasing the frequency of those. But we're going to have something come back to us in a couple months.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyone else? Rich, is there any consideration being given? I know in Los Banos, and not just for Los Banos, but we have our college is pretty far out. And is there's a fare reduction for students or no?
There's currently, the students can buy either a monthly pass, a 31-day pass, or a semester pass at 25% discount.
Okay. Do you know what it would cost if we had a location or locations around town, either in Merced or in Los Banos, to give them free transportation if you're in college?
Not off the top of my head, I'd have to look up.
Because I don't know how many students would be involved, but encourage education, a higher education, by giving them a pass to go to and from college only.
Our student ridership is fairly high. And again, what we're looking at with most of these is not an increase in cost, but a loss of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be the same thing. So
it would be a loss in revenue,
supplementing a loss in revenue
yeah.
With these funds. I could figure that out and come back for a future item as well.
Just for edification, I'd like to know what that would be, because Los Banos, the college is way out, and we don't have a sidewalk or a walkway out to the college. And people have talked about putting one out there, but we have to cross the bridges, we have to cross the creek, we have to do a lot of things, and I'm not sure what that would cost as opposed to, how many students are there, and whether free ridership would be the way to go to encourage people.
And we do have 3 routes that go from the core of Los Banos to the college. So there are buses that go out there.
Yes.
So it wouldn't be an increase in cost necessarily, but if we provided the passes, it would be the loss of revenue.
Okay. So could you see, with the different areas that provide transportation to Merced and Merced Satellite Campus in Los Banos?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you. Any other comments?
Should I move to approve option B?
If you'd like.
I'm moving to approve option B.
Okay.
What I was going to say is move to approve with remaining funds for the set aside for the zero emissions buses, but not restricted to just that, for that and any other projects.
So as we receive more information, maybe there are other headings that we'd like to consider at a different time?
Certainly.
Okay.
I'll accept that amendment.
Okay. Okay, so why don't you just you want to restate that? Okay.
What?
So we just get,
Approve with the TPR recommendation of option B.
okay, and to look at other options later? Okay, and who is the second? O'Banion? Okay, thank you. It's been moved by McDaniels and second by O'Banion for option 2 with the ability to then program funds later on with other options. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay. Let's go on to item 11, request for out-of-state travel.
All right, thank you. There is an American Public Transit Association conference. It's being held close, but it's in Reno, Nevada. The last 2 conferences were in San Francisco and LA, California. It wasn't really an issue, but the personnel policy says for out-of-state travel, we need board approval. There's money in the budget to cover it, but I'm asking for out-of-state travel.
Any discussion or a motion? Okay. Second. It's been moved by Espinoza, second by Pereira, to approve the travel request. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay. And let's go on to item number 13, award contract, purchase of forklift, 12. Approve the appropriation for $24,255.72 from the LTF capital funds for the purchase of a 5,000-pound capacity forklift. Rich?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is my most controversial item so far, evidently. Having a forklift at the yard is a fairly critical piece of equipment. I looked into some of the statistics, and the heavy deliveries of like oil and so forth happen about every 3 weeks. So I figured even at a once a month rental, we're looking at wherever my table is. It was close to $461 a month to do that. So 1 day a month. It's a daily charge, but if we do it once a month, then comparing it to taking the total cost of the forklift, dividing it by 5 years to get an annual cost, it's actually cheaper over those 5 years to purchase the vehicle than to rent it 1 day a month every year for 5 years, if that makes sense. The chart makes more sense than what I'm saying. And our intent was to buy a new forklift when we got the new facility. We have money set aside to do that. Seeing as how we could really use the forklift now, we thought go ahead and just get it now.
Okay. Have any questions? Anyone? Motion approve? Go ahead.
You're not going to open up to the public? We already did anyway, right?
Okay. Is there anyone who'd like to comment from the public on the forklift? No, not seeing anyone, hearing anyone?
I'm surprised that we don't have it already, but, we do need it. I'll go ahead and move to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second?
The troublemaker's not here.
By. Okay. It's been motioned by Espinoza, second by Oliveira to approve item number 13, purchase of a forklift. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? Oh, I'm sorry, item 12. Item 12, purchase of a forklift. Any opposition? None carried. Okay, let's go on to item 13. Award contract for construction of operations and maintenance facility.
Good afternoon. My name is Jim Lee. I'm an attorney representing David A. Bush, Inc., who is a bidder on this project. And I'm here to ask you not to approve this resolution. A little history of the resolution and the bidding. You may or may not be aware, depending on if you've read the staff's reports, but the initial notice to award the bid was given to David A. Bush because Acme, who's being awarded the bid at this time, bid was non-responsive. And several weeks later, a second notice was sent out and said that Acme, they had looked at the non-responsiveness and decided that it could be waived, and therefore Acme was going to get the bid. And the resolution, basically, the problem with the resolution is that it says that that they have looked at it and said that they can waive it because it does not change the price or the time or the ability of the contractor to do it. And that is a legitimate point. But it only deals with one of the 2 points that the California appellate courts have said will not allow you to waive such a thing. The other one is unfairness to the other bidders. And that's not mentioned in the resolution. It's not mentioned in any of the staff's memos, but it is California law. And here's the situation. They did not, and the staff says that they cannot, and there's no dispute that they cannot waive the DBE form requirement. And in the bidding process, the bid document said you're supposed to submit that at the time of bid. The Acme did not submit the form. The staff determined that that was non-responsive. They did the note that Bush would get the bid or be offered the bid, and the problem with that is, and what the California appellate courts have found, is that if you go back and say to a contractor, okay, you didn't do this, we're going to give you post-bid the opportunity to do it, you therefore at the same time give that contractor the opportunity to say, no thanks, I'm not going to submit that. And then, of course, your bid is non-responsive, and you get to walk away without putting your bid bond at risk. Valley Crest case that versus the city of I've forgotten the city's victim, but said that you can't do that because it's unfair to the other bidders. They don't have an opportunity to walk away without giving up their bid bond. And so therefore, that situation, you cannot waive that part that's unbid.
I'm sorry, you're
right, that's
3
all right.
minutes up. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Before I allow anyone else to speak, Rich, did you want to talk?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. We did do a bid opening on February 22nd. At that time, we went through the process and we listed Acme as the lowest bidder. It was true as what was mentioned that there was a form missing. The DBE, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise Zone, or Enterprise form was missing. And after reviewing that, we determined that it wasn't something that was going to affect the quality, the price, so forth. It was essentially falls under what would have been a clerical error. It was a paper that we needed to have on file, but did not affect the actual bid. So after going around, and it does say in section 4.2 of the IFB does state that TJPA reserves the right to waive any informalities or minor irregularities in the bid and to make an award on the basis of suitability, quality of service to be provided, and ability to perform the project requirements. So after going through the process, we determined that this minor irregularity of not submitting this form, which they did do 2 days later with the rest of the forms that were required to be submitted. They were given 2 days to submit the rest of the DBE forms. They submitted theirs with the rest of the forms. So we do have it on file. And then we did reference checks on Acme, and they all came back favorable. We felt that was the most responsible thing for us to do, is to choose Acme as the lowest bidder with public funds.
Yeah. Any questions before I ask anyone else in the public that would like to speak from directors? She does now.
Just to clarify, everything that Mr. Lee said is accurate about the law in the state of California. However, the sequence of events that he believes took place is not accurate. We did not give Acme the opportunity to withdraw its bid at any point in time. We did not ask them to submit their form. They submitted their form unsolicited 2 days after the initial bid opening, along with all of their other paperwork. They never requested to withdraw their bid under Public Contract Code Section 5103. Even if they had asked to withdraw their bid pursuant to that code section, this error was not, in our opinion, the type that would allow withdrawal and would allow them to withdraw their bid without forfeiting their bid bond. Not the type contemplated by the code. So we would not have permitted them to withdraw their bid without forfeiting that bid bond. So there was no favoritism here as a result of this. This was...
No. All right. Is there anyone out in the public who would like to speak? Anyone else? Okay, I'll bring it back to Director Level. Do I have a motion? Any discussion? Yes, go ahead.
I apologize. Just so you're all aware, Bush will have an additional opportunity to protest the award of this bid after the award is made. They can submit a protest pursuant to our protest procedures that will be responded to. So.
Okay. What's the pleasure?
I'll move to approve.
Okay. Do I have a second? Second. Okay, it's been motioned by McDaniels, second by Oliveira, to award the contract for construction of the operations and maintenance facility. Adopt resolution number 2017-04-20-02, approving the award of the contract to operations and maintenance facility. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay. Let's go on to item 14, Caltrans report. I don't see Ken today, but
good afternoon, Mr. Chair and directors. Stephen Martinez from Caltrans, filling in for Ken and our director, Dennis. First off, statewide, the state legislature took a bold step and they passed Senate Bill 1, which will provide $5.2 billion for both state and locals to catch up on years of unfunded maintenance needs. We'll be able to fix our roads, repair aging bridges, reduce traffic congestion, improve goods movement. The measure is a 12-cent per gallon tax hike on gasoline, an excise tax on diesel of 20 cents per gallon, and owners of electric cars and other emission-fee vehicles will also see an annual fee of $100. And vehicle fees will rise between $25 and $175, depending on the value of the vehicle. And I believe I handed out a fact sheet. This is from the governor's office. He hasn't signed it yet, but it's passed the state senate, and it looks like he will be signing it anytime now. Secondly, since 1921, 185 Caltrans employees have been killed while on the job. One of our biggest hazards is for motorists who don't exercise caution while driving where highway workers are present. Each year on statewide Worker Memorial Day, Caltrans honors these employees by placing their names on a memorial plaque in the lobby of the Caltrans headquarters building in Sacramento. This year, the Workers' Memorial Ceremony will be in Sacramento on the west steps of the state capitol next week on April 27th. Also, I passed copies of our mile marker, our performance reports magazine. It's also available online. I'll skip through it, but it's a pretty good read. Regionally, we are currently reviewing the final EIR for the Atwater Ferrari project. It's a pretty big project in the area. And today, Caltrans, we held our statewide litter removal and enforcement day this morning. This is where not just our maintenance teams are out picking up litter directly. A lot of us office folks as well are out there cleaning up and getting litter off the roads. Last year, Caltrans spent approximately $67 million on litter removal. So litter becomes an expensive and environmentally hazardous thing. So over the state, we collected 142,000 cubic yards of litter. which is equivalent to about 9,000 full garbage trucks. We have 2 traffic advisories. The first is on State Route 152 from Moraga Road to Volta Road. Crews will be working on the highway until tomorrow at the end of the day. And we have another project on State Route 33 from McCabe Road to 140. The construction is part of a project that will add centerline and edgeline rumble strips to approximately 10 miles of State Route 33 in Merced County. This project is scheduled to be completed in June 2017. So right now there's one-way traffic controls, and that's available to change as needed. Motorists should expect approximately 5 to 10 minutes delays and use alternate routes when available. We currently have 1 construction advertisement out for bid in Merced County. It's to construct a 3-beam median barrier on State Route 152. It's estimated about $1.7 million, and it's 12 miles west of Los Banos from Vista Point Access Road to San Luis Dam Service Road. Getting a follow-up from last month's meeting with Chair Veralta, we talked about SR 152 11th Street, and this is something that's on the I talked with Ken, and I also talked to our traffic engineer about it. Traffic Ops conducted a signal analysis at 11th Street based on recent field data traffic safety collected via MyoVision cameras during the first week of April in order to determine potentially any secondary enhancements. The completed data count was just received last Thursday, and our initial intent was to enhance the crossing with rapid response flashing beacons. However, that alone was unsatisfactory from the preliminary analysis. Based upon the data analysis, we determined that additional enhancement may be justified. This crosswalk location needs a more in-depth analysis, and I was talking to Stacy about it on Monday, so that's what she's planning on doing, taking all this data and taking a little bit more time to figure out exactly what we could do at the 11th Street intersection, so we do it all in one project and not piecemeal a couple things together.
So what is a little more time?
Maybe a couple more weeks. So.
Okay.
So the dilemma at this location is the access and management in place, the abundance of driveways, vehicle volumes, and the makeup of the traffic, visibility, and crossing distance. It's a pretty rough area for a crosswalk. So we had to wait. One reason it took so long is we were waiting for better weather conditions. It's been a rainy season, so to get around that first week of April when it wasn't rainy, it did push us back. But the good news is on 165 and Scripps Road, Hawks beacons, those are complete right next to the school. Okay. For Supervisor Espinoza, regarding directional signage to Planada, our traffic engineering of signs stated that he believes that those, if there were signs to Planada, that was from a past policy, and we're currently under new policy. And he's checking that new policy to see if we can put those Planada signs back, and he will need about 1 more week to complete that. And for Supervisor McDaniel, concerning stretches of 99 near Atwater, according to our maintenance supervisor, they have recently went through the area with a surface grinder to help smooth out the pavement. Maintenance crews have also made several repairs to cracked slabs in the area between Buhack and East Atwater. The slabs are stable, just some minor cracking in the corners. The maintenance crews are doing what they can to keep the highway safe until construction. So for construction, we just completed the new alignment on AME. Construction is complete. For 99 Merced rehabilitation, Childs Avenue to Franklin Road, this is scheduled to begin in November 2020. Pavement rehab from Buhack Overcrossing to Westside Boulevard Undercrossing is scheduled to begin September 2021. So they're aware that there's problems there, but they're also aware that that construction project, when it starts in 2021, is it's a long life pavement project, which will put continuous reinforced concrete pavement in. Okay. And that's all I got.
Okay. Comments? Yes, sir.
I appreciate the follow-up, the emails after the last meeting and giving us a quick follow-up on a lot of that stuff. It's much appreciated, so thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Director Espinoza.
I appreciate the previous help as well, and I got a new one too in Livingston. It's on Hammett Avenue between Campbell Road and northbound 99.
Is that Santa Ana?
No, in Livingston. I'm sorry.
What was the street name?
Hammett Avenue.
Hammett.
Between Campbell and northbound 99 entrance. There's a stop sign right before the northbound 99 entrance. That Foster Farms come south through there and they get on the freeway, and I guess they release water all the time, and it's breaking up the road, and there's a lot of potholes there. So I think they need, if you can probably patch those potholes, please. Thank you.
And that's northbound
99 off the Hammett overpass.
Okay.
Thank you.
Director Hogue?
Hi.
Hello.
We have a pork chop, I guess it's called, on our 33 highway going into a new development in Dos Palos, and it desperately needs to have somebody weed eat it. Apparently, that is part of cleaning up the Caltrans part.
Yeah, and where was that at?
It's on 33 and Stearman in Dos Palos. And it's a really nice neighborhood, but it looks pretty bad. Okay, thank you.
Pass that along.
Thank you so much for the updates. We've been in communication with Caltrans and on a weekly basis of what's happening. But I would please urge you, do that as quickly as possible. Someone, God forbid, is going to get hurt at that intersection. I mean, people are darting across. They don't see the number of students going to that high school. The high school has almost 2,000 kids. And so whatever you can do to expedite that project, I would greatly appreciate it, just for the safety. Because I don't want Max the Crow out there. Yes, who else? Director Pereira?
Okay, so I have two. I don't want to be left out.
Okay.
North Highway 59 and Bellevue Road would be the northeast corner. Was repaired, maybe 2 months ago, and it's terrible again. So I think our Merced County Department of Public Works is going to reach out to you as well.
Okay.
But, and then one other place.
Let me just make sure it was Highway 59 at Bellevue northeast corner.
Correct. Okay. And what it is, it's a real sharp corner because of an electric pole, and I think trucks making that turn tear it up pretty good. And then the second one would be on southbound 99 at the Martin Luther King exit. The asphalt, just as you exit, is alligatoring, and so people kind of drive around it and then kind of make a, instead of smoothly exiting the freeway, kind of out and back in. And anyways, if it could be addressed, that'd be great.
Perfect. I could pass that along to our maintenance crews.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
On to item 15, oral report, transportation planning and programming update. Stacy?
Thank you. We'll go into more detail on some of these items, so I'll just give a really quick update of what the transportation team's working on. As you've heard for the last couple of months, that we're in the thick of rolling out the 2018 Regional Transportation Plan. You'll have an item next month to approve a contract with a consultant that will be on board to help us deliver that product by hopefully next summer. Well, it will be by next summer, so a year from now. And as part of that, we're beginning to implement the RTP public outreach strategy that was board approved in, I believe, November of 2016. And that involves, it's a pretty aggressive plan to engage stakeholders and the public in the development of the RTP, and two key components of that is developing focus groups and an advisory committee, and we'll have an item on that later in the agenda. In terms of the RTIF, I think we've had some discussion already that where we are now with following the study and the adoption of the study at the end of last year was that the item is out to the individual jurisdictions to take action by May. It has been communicated that not all the jurisdictions will be taking action by that deadline, so I will be bringing an item to you all next month to get direction on how you'd like staff to proceed. And in terms of the measure, the funding agreements are out. The deadline to get those comments back from the Member Jurisdictions Council was on Monday. We have received some, and Emily is working on with us. We'll be working on getting those reviewed, and we'll move forward accordingly. And then also part of the measure work is obviously we're working on establishing the Citizens Oversight Committee. The deadline for the jurisdictions to submit their nominations is today, and the board will be taking action on those final appointments next month. And there's an item on that later on the agenda as well.
We were going to send out the comments by the jurisdictions to the member agencies. Are we still going to do that? All the comments that were received?
We will send them out once we've had an opportunity to review them and determine whether they're possible to incorporate from MCAG's perspective.
I thought if a member agency made a comment, that the comments that the member agencies made were going to be shared with everyone so they knew what everyone else was thinking. I think that's what we talked about last time.
I don't know exactly what action was taken in that regard, but regardless, any comments made by any member agency would have to be reviewed by MCAG and see if they're even possible to incorporate given the TEP and the language in that document. So I don't know, once we've done that and determined whether any of them are not possible to incorporate, it would be easier to communicate directly with that member agency before it goes to the rest of the agencies.
Well, as long as at some point that they're sent out, that's what we talked about.
Yes, they will be
Okay.
sent out.
Okay.
All right, that's good. All right. Anyone else? Comments? Okay, let's go on. Yes. Anyone? Okay. Let's go on to item 16, information discussion only. Item A, MCAG newsletter, April 2017. Letter of support, HR 1346, MPO, coordination rule. One Voice Federal Legislative Update, and Technical Review Board minutes for April 12th, 2017. Any discussion on those items? Information? Anyone else in public? Okay, it's for information only. Let's go on to item 17, consent agenda. 2017 One Voice Platform, appointment of Citizens Advisory Committee representative. Okay. Second? By whom? McDaniels. Okay, moved by O'Banion, second by McDaniels to approve the consent agenda. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay. Let's go on to item 18. Draft formal amendment number 2 to the 2017 Federal Transportation Improvement Program, Congestion Mitigation Air Quality Programming Recommendation. Approve the CMAQ programming of projects. A. B. Adopt the formal amendment number 2 to the 2017 FTIP. And 3. Authorize the interim executive director to execute the contract amendment for van pooling services. How are you, Matt?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Last fall, we issued a call for projects for CMAQ, Congestion Mitigation Air Quality. This is a federal funding source, primarily for air quality improvement. And this board adopted some policies, I believe that was last year, to help make the program work better as a whole. And I believe this, the result of this call for projects demonstrates that. We got a lot of good projects in here. Some pedestrian projects, purchasing clean street sweepers, some other things. So this proposed programming is, for the most part, for the first phases of these projects, and that was something that the board approved as a policy, was that the preliminary engineering would have to be done first before the construction would get programmed, and that was because there's some uncertainty sometimes with how long the PE takes. And when you put something in a certain year, it has to go that year. So this funding source is a little unique in that regard. So anyway, the program that's proposed to be incorporated through an FTIP amendment is in the staff report. There's a couple of adjustments to existing projects. Well, one's an enhancement. One is changing the channelization on 59 in Merced, and that's basically to match up with the other 59 projects so they both could go at the same year. So that was something the City of Merced was interested in, and that can certainly be accommodated. And then the other thing is increasing investment in van pool. So that's part of an effort to not only improve the air, but also get some greenhouse gas reductions at the same time, because van pools are generally long trips. So if you replace 8 cars with one van, you're doing a lot of good for the air and GHGs at the same time for a relatively small investment. So that's what that component is for. And if you had any questions on CMAQ or this proposed amendment, I'd be happy to try and answer those for you.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Fell? Anyone? Anyone from the public? All right, it's an action item. I have a motion. Okay, it's been moved by Murphy, second by O'Banion, to approve item 18. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay, let's go on to item 19, Regional Transportation Plan Advisory Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Stacy mentioned that we're gearing up for the RTP. We have a consultant on board to prepare the EIR, the Environmental Impact Report, and we are acquiring a consultant to help us with the public outreach and scenario development and a bunch of other things. And as she mentioned, we have a public outreach strategy, and part of that outreach strategy is forming an RTP-specific advisory committee. We did a similar thing a couple years ago. It was very successful. And so this is following kind of that model. And so what we're asking for is at least one member from the governing board to sit on this committee. It would be probably one meeting a month, although it's possible in the early months we might have to have a couple extra meetings. We do not know yet the date or time of those, but I'm thinking it's probably going to be towards the end of the month. It might be like the last week of the month. It could be something like a Monday at lunch. That's a time that's proved successful in the past, or it could be some other time. But we're asking for at least one volunteer from the board, and we think that will provide a good balance between our standing committees, this board, and our citizens committee, as well as interest groups and stakeholders. And then so we get everybody together and we can share ideas and make the best recommendations, which of course come back to this board.
Okay. Do we have any volunteers? Oh. No, don't do that. Yeah, I'm sure it does. I don't know. I don't know if we want to do that. We want to.
Maybe the supervisor might know if she would.
Mm-hmm.
She's not the only one that's not here.
No.
Alex suggested that she be the one. Sounds to me like a good job for someone from Livingston. What do you think? Won't you say yes for it? No. Is it Alex still? Yeah. Sound like a good idea.
Yeah, yes, I'm sure it does. How crucial is this, Matt, that we appointed today?
What Matt wouldn't say is it's very important.
Okay. All right. All right. Stacy will say it for him.
Yeah.
Yes. Mr. McGann.
I'd like to recommend Supervisor Laura. I think she'd accept it, and I think she'd be very good at it. So I have to go with my colleague over there on the west side.
Well, I would say okay as long as we, permitting that she is a person that would accept it. I mean, so if you two will talk to her.
Hey, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Go ahead and.
If she doesn't accept it, I think the one that suggested her name would do a good job.
And that was Mr. McDaniels. Okay. I could go with that recommendation. If she turns it down, Darren is automatically it. No?
I'm way overcommitted. I can't do
Okay. Well, do you want to make the recommendations for Director Lohr with the proviso that she has the time to do it, and if not, we'll bring it back the next month?
Let's do that.
Okay. All right, go ahead and make that recommendation then.
I'll amend my motion in that manner. Let's recommend her, put her on it, and if she can't fulfill the obligation, then we will bring it back next month.
Okay. The Director O'Banion, do you want to second that? No. Okay.
I'll second it.
All right. And it's been seconded by another / Director Supervisor, Mr. Pereira. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
No, I
any
was just-
opposition? None. Carried.
I'm in
Mr.
favor.
Murphy, you have a comment?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't know that we could reject. I was absent at a meeting. I left early. I left about 10 minutes early and got some responsibilities.
Well, you're a little newer, so we're going
Don't tell him who made the suggestion.
I won't.
Okay. All right.
I won't.
You were warned when you left, right?
Okay, so we'll ask her if she wants to do it, and if not, we'll bring it back to next month. All right. Okay. All right. Darren says she'll do it. Okay. Item 20, Measure V, Citizens Oversight Committee appointments. Appoint 3 governing board members to serve with up to 2 MCAG staff as a subcommittee to interview and select the final 7 stakeholder candidates for the Measure V Citizens Advisory Committee. And we'll go to Stacy.
Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, the deadline to apply for the 7 stakeholder positions was April 3rd, and we received 17 applications across the 7 categories. So at this time, staff is recommending the formation of a subcommittee that would essentially decide how they would like to proceed in identifying the final 7 candidates to be nominated for the appointment in May. And we'd be looking at 3 positions, and historically, and it's not uncommon that the chair has been asked to fill one of those seats with 2 additional, if that's what this board would like to do.
Okay, maybe we could have one from the east and one from the west, along with the... Okay. Okay. We okay? All right. So is everyone good? I make a motion then that the chair and Mr. Espinoza and Mr. Oliveira be along with the chair at the for a selection committee.
Also move.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been motioned by McDaniel, second by O'Banion. Bless you. To appoint the chair and Mr. Espinoza and Mr. Oliveira to the selection committee. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None. Carried. Let's go on to item 21, recommendation of the Ana Marie Fuentes Scholarship Selection Committee.
This is a fun one, and as I turned my page, I lost my spot. But this is a great opportunity. This is somewhat should be familiar with most of the board, as this has been going on for quite some time. The Ana Maria Fuentes Scholarship is paid through donations by staff, and has historically with some board members and former staff. And it's a great opportunity that we offer a student, a graduating senior in Merced County. It's a very rigorous, it's a very competitive application. As you'll see in the person that we're recommending, he's a Merced High senior, Stephen Young, and he has a grade point average of a 4.4. An exceptional candidate, and he wasn't alone. This is always year to year a difficult choice. Anna's family is part of the selection, as was Director Lohr, and we thank her and all of you that have participated in the past. So we're looking for board approval to award the 2017 Ana Maria Fuentes Scholarship to Merced High senior Stephen Young.
Okay. Mr. Price? Motion by Price, second by O'Banion, to approve the name of Stephen Young?
Yep,
Okay.
Stephen Young.
For the Ana Marie Fuentes Scholarship. Yeah, it is a fun. It's not fun why it was created,
No.
but it's always good to award a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None. Carried. Okay. Let's go item 23, chair rotation schedule. Oh, I'm sorry, 22. meeting and vacation policy, and this is an action item.
Thank you. This item was placed on the agenda for discussion last month, and the request was to bring a sample invocation policy for this board to consider, which is attached in your packet, and I believe it's from the city of Los Banos.
And this came through, I think, the city of Dos Palos.
Yes. Yep.
And for a invocation policy.
Mhm.
So, any discussion, any motions?
I'll move to approve.
Okay,
And I'd like to thank them for bringing it.
okay,
to the dais.
okay. It's been moved, any other discussion? Moved by McDaniels, second by Price, to approve the meeting invocation policy. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? None carried. Okay, let's go on to item 23, and that is chair rotation schedule. It's an information item for discussion to provide direction to the staff if applicable. Okay,
This item was added to the agenda at the request of Chair Villalta for discussion, and I'll turn it over to you if you want to
okay.
lay out your thoughts.
So I thought, you know, after all the years that we finally have a chair rotation schedule, and this chair rotation schedule would take place, it would be the same thing that we have in our bylaws right now, city, county, city, county, city, county. And then one of the provisos in there was that if we had a new member, and that member was not on the MCAG board for a year, they could not serve as the chair. So if that happens, we could have a rotation schedule that would skip that person, then go back to them, and MCAG would be in charge of a list, and then it would be automatic. And then if that city did not, if that entity or city did not want to do it, then they would lose their place in line, and the rotation would go forward. So it would take all the drama out of that, and the chair would then be mechanical. So I'd like to bring that forward for a vote to place it on the next agenda, if so desired by this board.
I don't have a problem with it going forward to the board.
Okay.
Then we would avoid what happened this last time.
Yes. Is that a motion? Okay. Do I have a second? Okay. It's been motioned by Director Oliveira, second by Espinoza, to bring this next month, bring it back next month with a plan for a chair rotation schedule.
Can I just ask one question? It is an info item, and I believe per our policy, we just need a consensus. So does that require a formal vote, or just an agreement that staff will put expend the time to bring it back next month for an actual vote? Right.
Okay. All right, is there anyone against it?
Yep.
Okay, bring it back.
That's all I needed.
All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, okay. The attorney wants it done that way, we do it that way. Okay. All right, let's go on to item 24, SB1, State Transportation Funding Package, for discussion to provide direction to the staff if applicable.
Thank you. Again, this was added to the agenda for discussion by Director Espinoza, and I believe we do have an attachment of some summary information about SB1 for the board's discussion.
Director Espinoza, do you want to comment?
Well, I wanted to discuss because I had some people questioning, the funds and what was going to happen. Of course, with $100 million, it goes to Campus Parkway, and that's good. But they were questioning why the chair of MCAG and the chair of the county were not asked for input regarding what priority projects were in line for the county. So that's why I put it on there.
Okay. Anyone else want to comment? I will. Yes, sir.
The SB1, when it came through our city, our council voted unanimously not to support, and for a variety of reasons. And subsequent to the passage, There's been a lot of discussion as what Director Espinoza has been saying insofar as funds disbursement and what have you. One of the things that's particularly disturbing to me with respect to the MCAG board is that the selection of Campus Parkway, even though I know it's a good thing, like all projects could. However, by doing the Campus Parkway selection, it in fact took away the selection process from this body. We have been discussing prioritization of projects, regional projects within the county, and we haven't even arrived at that selection process. So that was one of the reasons that I wanted to discuss this. Also, with respect to SB1, there's several things that are particularly disturbing about it. One of them is that the implication on this, and I think this was in the Los Angeles Times, don't quote me on that necessarily, but I know I read this, where there's going to be 570,000 jobs created on this particular piece of legislation. I don't know where those 570,000 jobs are going to come from other than possible construction jobs and what have you. Those are temporary jobs. They're done, you move on. One of the other things, and it was brought out with the Caltrans report today with the handout that we received, and I heard this also from the governor saying that this is only going to be an extra $10 per month per driver. I think that is extremely disingenuous. $10 a month, that's just unconscionable. It's just going to cost a lot more than $10 a month in a lot of different ways. One of the ways that I see this is going to cost more is that, and I think Director McDaniel has made this comment several times, we have, was it 25% of the workforce here, Darren, that is driving out of the area to go to jobs? Was that an accurate statement?
20,000 folks commute out of the county every day.
Okay, so for those, I think it's going to cost for them a lot more than just $10 a month. But what's also particularly disturbing about this is that there was no regard for what the extra cost is going to be for the people who are not drivers, seniors, people that are on disability, things like that. And what I mean by that is that when it comes to goods and services, if it requires a diesel truck or some other diesel mode of transportation or gasoline, that is going to be a pass-through to the bottom line of those seniors and those people that are going to be affected by that. And in particular, once this is a full implementation, you can believe that when it comes to ag products, a farmer doesn't go out there with some electric tractor or some kind of a combine that's electric or whatever. This is all diesel burning stuff. Same thing with those that are transporting it to being processed up to, say, our Dole factory here in Atwater, and then ultimately onto the grocery store. So there is going to be a triple pass-through that the brunt of it is going to be borne by the people in our communities. So to say $10 a month is all it's going to cost is really insulting. It's glossing over it and making it sound like it's no big deal. And to me, it is a big deal. Our city had to raise water rates, and I want to tell you, I had seniors that were calling me on fixed incomes and crying their eyes out, literally on the phone to me, saying, how am I going to do this? It's hard enough right now. So now we're going to go ahead and saddle them with extra cost for other goods and services. The one thing also that bothers me, and I'm sorry that Louise Farley from Senator Canella's office has had to depart, but one of the things that bothered me about this as well is that we're putting out 39.5 cents a gallon right now in taxation. There was no mention of anything having to do with any kind of an audit or any kind of a process to look into where is that money going right now. We have plenty of ways to go ahead and say we're going to spend it. There's lots of them on here. but there isn't a single word on here to say, we looked into this, the money is going here, and that's the way it is. A handful of, legislators in Sacramento took it upon themselves to say, this is what's best for you, take it and shut up. That's the way I look at it. But this is going to have far-reaching effects. And, to say that, $10 a month or whatever and glossing over this thing is going to make it all okay is nonsense. And as you can probably, surmise from my remarks, I am not pleased with this one bit. And I know we're going to be discussing probably further down the agenda right here pertaining to $3 million that we allocated through MCAG for the Campus Parkway in the street, safe streets, and we'll discuss that as it comes. But this funding package and how it was distributed, I can't go to one of my constituents and tell them, well, we're going to get Campus Parkway, and hey, we're also going to get a train. They don't care about that. That's not something that's going to swallow real easy with these folks. So this is really, really, I think it's insulting that we were not as a body consulted on this. And other information that I think is particularly insulting is information that was passed on to me today from two different sources, and I'm told they're reliable sources, is that Director McDaniel, Chairman Villalta, and myself, because of our opposition to this, we were being punished. Our entities were being punished. And that Campus Parkway was under the selection. Now, I know that's all, conspiracy theory type stuff. But if it's true, shame on them. Shame on our assemblyman and our senator if that is, in fact, the way that process went. Because, to me, we've got important projects around here, and to push that one to number one and to say that, we're going to punish you for the AME and doing phase 2 there, which would have been a good project to do, or the bypass in Los Banos, or any of the other projects that may have come along. I don't know. That's pure speculation. But if that's the way it happened, shame on them. I guess that's politics in the big city. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else comment? Well, yes, Mr. Murphy? Who else wants to comment? Mr. Pereira?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment. I guess you know that. The SB1 happened, and some people like what happened, some people don't. But it is what it is, and we're moving forward. And I think it's okay to state your opinion, but at some point, we have to say that's what it is, and we've got to move on and not let it be divisive for this body. We need to work together. We need to take it happened. I mean, whether you're for it or against it, it is what it is. And a lot of times, if you let the negative follow you around, then it ruins other things and other opportunities. And it's real critical right now. We've got the potential for a lot of projects in our area, and so I just want to say that from this day forward, I'm going to be positive about it, and I hope others will do the same.
Comments? Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Mike.
I just want to say, everyone's certainly got the right to share their views, but I just the history doesn't line up with the statement that MCAG wasn't consulted. I mean, this has been a top priority for a number of years. In fact, in our one-voice delegations, with one voice, we have spoken that this is our top priority. And with one voice, we have applied for Tiger grants. With one voice, we have applied for fast lane grants for Campus Parkway. So it's just not the reality to say that we weren't consulted. We've made those decisions. And the reason we make those decisions is so when opportunities come up to get funding, that we're in position to do it. And in fact, it's the only shovel-ready project in the entire county of these regional projects of the three. It's the only one with the right-of-way, with the engineering, and it's really ready to go.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Mr. Pereira over there made the right comments. It is done. We may not have been directly consulted in regards to it. We've got to decide on what we're going to do, and don't sit here and continue to belabor whether our legislators did the right thing or not. The public's going to tell you whether they did the right thing or not. I just think that I mean, the issue that was on the agenda here was the state SB1 transportation. It wasn't on whether or not we liked what our legislators did or they didn't do. And I think we just need to basically accept that it's done. I mean, we're not going to have any choice in regards to it. Let's go on and make the best out of what we got. I think also that a lot of people need to remember there is no benefit in this for the west side of Merced County. So don't feel sorry that you don't have anything over here. There certainly is nothing over on the west side in regards to this project. But, and also don't forget that the #1 priority in transportation in Merced County is not Campus Parkway, it's not AME, it's the Los Banos bypass. And I think this board, over the years, has stood behind the theory, clear back to when there used to be the Livingston sign and light. So if we'd have done the same thing then, we'd be folded up and Livingston wouldn't have got their bypass and we'd be sitting here again. But we didn't. We stuck the trail. We worked on the project we were working on and basically got Livingston bypass done and have had the same issues with different, I mean, we're going to get disappointments and benefits over the years. Yeah, there will be a benefit to Merced County in regards to those projects, whether I think that they're great or not. Let's go on and let's make the best of it and figure out what we're going to do with the money that we have or we're responsible for and take care of other projects. Thank you.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
Thank you. I just put it on there because obviously there was a questions but I'm also happy because I'm on the San Joaquin Valley Rail. We got $400 million. If it comes, the A train comes all the way to Merced. I'm happy for our county and the North counties, and the $100 million and Campus Parkway. It's already there, and it's good that we don't have to go back to. We might have to go back if it's not enough money to Washington D.C. and get more and to fund our other projects. So, let's move forward. Thank you.
Any other comments? Sure. Yes, sir.
And I think we need to be clear because we kind of expanded our conversations up here. The Campus Parkway is a separate bill that's still, I think, in the third reading in the committee in the Senate, as well as I think they're in their first reading on ACE Train. So SB1 is completely separate from those other two bills. Those were deals made for appropriations into the budget. So SB1 is still set aside the tax on the gases. So let's make sure we understand the separation. Thanks.
Any other comments? Well, things happen for a reason. And why Campus Parkway is selected, I don't know what the reason was. And like I said, Mr. O'Banion mentioned that the the Los Banos bypass has been the project for longer than any other project, and nothing's been done other than the $10 million has been wasted because of the environmental and the engineering, and those are out of date. So that money was just frittered away. It's gone. And so now that has to be over again. But I knew that when this came out, Los Banos wasn't in the running. I'm not upset about that. It doesn't bother me one bit, but I do feel we are an association of governments. And the comment was made to me, well, that wasn't the Association of Governments' choice because it was done in Sacramento, so therefore leave it alone. But things happen for a reason. And why did it happen? Why did Campus Parkway? And this is an association of governments, and I'm working hard, as is everyone else, to make sure it still stays an association of governments and we have the most say that we can. So However, Campus Parkway got on the list, and that became, I understand the ACE train because Cannell and Gray were pushing that a long time ago. That's a no-brainer in my mind. But as far as Mr. Price's comments, I think we should listen to him. We should listen to what we said. Yes, we can move on, but how do we improve the process? And that needs to be done so this body becomes a cohesive group and stays a cohesive group. So those are my comments. All right, anything else? Okay, let's go on to item 25, and this is information only. Okay, and this is funding commitment to Campus Parkway. Stacy?
Thank you. This item was added to the agenda at the request of Director Price, along with the attached staff report from the item that came to the Governing Board in December of 2016.
Okay. Director Price?
Yes, once again, this is a $3 million commitment that was for Campus Parkway, and what the thrust of my request here is to bring this for discussion, possible action, to withdraw those funds in lieu of the fact that there's a $100 million commitment now to Campus Parkway.
Any other comments? Yes, sir.
A couple things. I mean, the first one is that I just want us to take note that this is a request to take funds out of the Fast Lane grant, which we all approved to do. So I just want to make the point that there has been direction from this body to pursue this project. But more importantly, as Director McDaniel mentioned, we talk about Campus Parkway as an ACE train as something that's sort of a done deal, but really it has not passed out of the legislature or gone to the governor's desk or been signed. I am 100% supportive of moving any excess dollars we have into another regional project, including AME. But we can't act like Campus Parkway is an accomplished fact. And the other is, this is a large project, so it's a $100 million project, and we don't expect to need any local funds, but it's possible. I mean, it's possible that the overage could be a 3% or a 4% overage, and some of those funds would be needed. So I just caution us about taking action on this when we really don't have Campus Parkway in hand.
Comments? Any other comments? Yes. Mr. McDaniels, you have a comment?
Sure. From my understanding, it was talking to our legislative members who brought this forth in the pending bills that are still in the Senate. Any monies, this $100 million is a blanket over the top of already committed dollars. And so it is supposed to, it doesn't allow UC to withdraw their commitment. It doesn't allow the county to withdraw their commitment, and it doesn't allow MCAG to withdraw their commitment. I think this is still pending for Fast Lane grants. When is this grant awarded? Isn't it usually like September or October?
Unless I'm looking to Matt to see if he has any other, but as far as I understand, that the last we heard, the administration was still making appointments to critical spots before they were going to take any action on the grants.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is
the federal Fast
money.
Lane. Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to caution us before we make any moves at this time, and I echo Mayor Murphy. He's been very supportive in a lot of our discussions that if there is any monies left over, he would support us in shifting over the Atwater Merced Expressway. So I think we need to watch our steps here, because this could actually free up more money if we get the Fast Lane grant from the federal government. And so I think we should wade into the water a little softer. That's just my opinion.
But if money is allocated to Campus Parkway, how can you shift excess funds over to another area? Is that allowed in the $100 million that's proposed for Campus Parkway?
From what I understand in talking to our legislatures, that this is the Campus Parkway and Atwater Merced Expressway is considered the campus loop. So it's part of a continuous loop to continue from each exit to go out. So as we proceed, we're looking at that as being their focus point. It's not that they will take the money from us at the end of from what I understand, because it can continue for the loop. And we do have support from the mayor to start from the Atwater side to continue the loop, right? Once it gets to that,
Right.
So it's not, we're not going to continue from UC and continue around, but in our discussions, we were talking about coming back from the other side.
Yeah, I mean, the next, once it gets to campus, the Bellevue widening is an obligation of UC Merced to go from 2 lanes to 4. And those are agreements that the city of Merced has worked out with the campus that they're on the hook for that. So really it's that, getting, and that's from the campus on Lake Road to G Street.
But can you make a statement to Mr. Price that overage can be used for his project?
If you're asking me, I don't know.
Okay, that's the answer I thought I was going to hear.
From my understanding in conversations I've had with the legislature, our representatives, I feel that is the case.
Price? Yeah, well, we don't, yeah. Okay, so we're going to need a consensus to go forward to study this, because it's an information item the same way as we did with the other one. And if we'd like to do that, do we have a consensus to move it forward, to look into this, to find out further information, to see if that's possible? Because now, if it isn't possible, at least we could know and study the situation instead of blanketly turning it down. Because no one really knows for sure if that money can be moved over.
Then I would like to move to ask staff to look into it further and get some more clarification. I mean, the bills are still sitting, in the Senate, so it hasn't even gone to the Assembly yet. So, like I said, I think that one's on its 3rd reading.
Yes, sir.
I don't know how you're going to take action on an item that is information. I don't believe you're going to.
No, it's not. We're not taking action.
Wait a minute, let me finish.
You're not taking action.
You're not?
No. It's
All right, well, just one moment.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. Commissioner, over here. Didn't you say I move? You had a motion coming to you.
Yes, I was going to correct that in just a minute.
You cannot have a motion on an item that is an information item.
I know that,
I think
Director O'Banion.
I'm not arguing
I will
with
clarify
you, Mr.
that.
Peralta. Would you let me finish, please?
I will clarify it.
Would you let me finish,
Go ahead.
please? Thank you. What I'm saying is, let's get more information. We don't need to take an action, and we can talk about this some other time. This is not an item that is an action item that needs to be an action on it today. Now then, I relinquish the floor, and you can speak all you want.
Thank you. Thank you. And I asked for a consensus if we wanted to move this forward, not a vote. And what Mr. McDaniel said, I'm sure he understands before. Yeah, okay. Okay, talk to him. All right. So do we have a consensus to move this forward for more information?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. Let's go on to item 26, Director's Report. Executive Director, Stacy.
I think I've said enough
Okay.
for today. So unless anyone has any questions, I've got nothing additional to add.
Any questions for Stacy? Very good. Okay, let's go on to Director's Report. And today we'll start with Director O'Banion. Okay. You want to mention the spring fair? Oh, okay. Well, I was going to share it with you. Okay. All right. Director Espinoza? Okay. Director Murphy? Director, let's see, look at McDaniels?
Nothing to repair.
Okay. Mr. Breyer? Director Breyer? Okay. Director Hoag? Okay. Director Price?
As like with Stacy, I have had enough today, so
And you're going to make your doctor's appointment. Do you know that?
I am. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I won't ask what kind of doctor, so we'll take that. Okay. Director Oliveira.
Just that we're interviewing our city.
You want to turn on the mic?
We're starting interviews for our new city manager Monday, so
Okay.
hopefully it won't take too long.
Wish you a lot of luck. Okay. So I have to show you my little cheat sheet. I have a little horseshoe here, and it has the names of everyone so I can make sure that I call on the right person. Okay, and yes.
I forgot one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Emily, for correcting me. Because your agenda does say your next meeting is May 18th at 3 o'clock, I do just want to note that we will be changing that start time to 2 o'clock on May 18th, and that's to facilitate the executive director interviews.
Okay.
The city of Merced.
All right, the only comment I have, if you could come to the May Day, if you'd like to come to the May Day Fair, it's the 126th anniversary of the, actually the Merced County Spring Fair. I want to get this right. So, yeah, now you're nodding. Okay. So it's a Merced County Spring Fair in Los Banos, and if you'd like to come, it's May 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, Wednesday through Sunday. And we'll have our parade on Saturday, so anyone, elected officials, if you'd like to come, be in the parade, please let us know. We'll see who they contact. I can't remember. Was that the fair board, if they want to have an entry? The office. 826-5166. If you'd like to, if we could still accept entries for the May Day parade, if you'd like to come over, or as a spectator, please do so. So with that, I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 4:44.